Bring in retired Major General David Fraser, CTV's military analyst. Major, it's good to see you again, and Happy New Year to you and your family.
Angie, Happy New Year to you too. And sorry we're talking today about this.
Indeed, as we continue to follow what is now, we're going into months into this war, but talk to us about the death of this Hamas leader. How big of a blow is this?
Well, I think this is a big blow for Hamas because as one of their major leaders and a founding member of the military side of the house, have him attacked and killed in Beirut is a significant blow to them because they probably thought that their leaders were safe out of the country.
Right.
And for Israel, it's certainly an escalation in this war to go after Hamas in other countries. And likewise in Turkey, there are a number of Israelis now being arrested because they seem to be spying on foreign nationals there too. So this is an escalation.
So what does this say? Because we know military leaders, Israel military leaders have been talking about where the war is going to pivot. With this happening now, and this, of course, being a big victory for Israel, where do you think the war is going to pivot? It's not going to be over. We know that. We've heard that from the prime minister on this. We've heard that from military leaders on this as well. But where do you think it's going to pivot now as things move forward into a new year?
Well, I think two things are going to happen, Angie. First of all, we're seeing on the ground, they're taking away some of the tanks and they're going into what I would call a lower tempo operation, but one that is as equally as destructive and combat oriented against Hamas. And with 85% of Gazans displaced, Hamas is hiding amongst them. So that's not going to stop the killing there. It's going to keep on going. But the other thing, though, Israel said at the very beginning they're going to go after the perpetrators of the 7th of October attack. And now this is the first indication they're going to do it outside of their country. So on those two sides, we're going to see the war carry on, people being killed. We're going to see the International Criminal Courts talk about that with the South African allegation. And now we're talking about Lebanon now being part of this, which could inflame Hamas or Hezbollah.
And of course, Israel as well being called out by the international community. We know that there'll be Israeli officials will be appearing at the International Court of Justice next week to dispute genocide charges. Talk to me about that angle as well, because you and I have had a lot of conversations, and you've had a lot of conversations with my colleagues as well, in terms of the calls from the international community. We've heard the calls from the UN. We'll talk about the United States in a second there, Major, but this aspect of things as well. How does it affect Israel?
Well, what South Africa is doing is they're formally putting the allegation of genocide in a courtroom for the courts to actually decide whether or not this is true. Israel has got an opportunity to respond to it. The only thing is, it's probably going to take years for this to get through the courts. It's not going to help now, but it is an escalation of what I would call from the political now into the legal world of what Israel is going to have to account for as a result of this war. So there's a lot more stuff that's piling up that Israel is going to have to answer to. And the world just keeps, putting the pressure on them about this war where the objectives are unclear.
What about the United States then? The United States is closest ally here. The United States really, it seems, has the most influence.
Well, the Secretary of State is going to show up in Israel again.
Right.
And, unlike anything we've seen in the past, the United States is sending so many senior people over to Israel and the region to talk to them. It illustrates just how dangerous and how potentially escalatory this whole situation is. And Israel just seems to be carrying on with what they want to do, not what they're hearing.
And in the middle, we know that people are dying. We're hearing aid is still not getting in. We know on both sides, both Israelis and Palestinians are dying. What are you watching for then, Major?
I'm watching for whether or not we're going to see ships going through Cyprus that have humanitarian aid that can get into Gaza, as the Israelis said that they are prepared to accept. I'm looking for the other southern crossing points to be opened up for more humanitarian aid. If there is no humanitarian aid, then it's just rhetoric, political rhetoric. So we got to be watching for that. And also, will there be regional flare-ups in the area, including the Houthis in the south?
We always appreciate your time. Retired Major General David Fraser, CTV's military analyst. Thanks again, Major. We'll speak again soon.
Angie, thank you.